So immediately following the election, Democrats, seemingly unable or unwilling to believe that more than half the country was actually dumb enough to re-elect a convicted felon/rapist, began spreading conspiracy theories about a rigged election online. And you can't really blame them, considering this is the same guy that still hasn't conceded that he lost the last election and spread dozens of his own baseless conspiracy theories about it being rigged before leading a violent insurrection to try and overthrow the results. Something he was gearing up to do again in the event that he lost, and was even spreading voter fraud conspiracies of his own on election night right up until he started pulling ahead in the polls, and then all of a sudden, all that voter fraud magically disappeared. How convenient. So after we take a quick second to acknowledge the mind-blowing hypocrisy that the same brain-dead dipshits that were crying for the last 4 years straight and literally attacked the Capitol because they were too pathetic to admit that their orange cult leader, who wears more makeup than a blind girl on prom night, lost the last election, are now the same hypocrites trying to tell Democrats to just accept the results of this election, let's debunk some of the stupid conspiracies going around on social media. Yeah, remember that? This is you guys accepting the results. Taking a piss on the Capitol, replacing the flag with a Trump flag.
Why is she not speaking tonight? She lost. She just go to bed? I mean, the Wisconsin's called. It's over. Why is she not coming out and conceding? It's shameful.
It's shameful. It's so shameful. She hasn't conceded for a whole 4 hours. Meanwhile, your guy still hasn't conceded a full 4 years later. Oh, so shameful. These motherfuckers are shameless. Anyway, so unlike with the election conspiracy theories of 2020, this fresh batch of conspiracies doesn't seem to stop at any political line in the sand, with both the right and the left taking the exact same misinformation and twisting it to fit their preferred narratives. Like this hilarious and depressing example, where a right-wing account and a left-wing account made the exact same post word for word, with one claiming Arizona's election was rigged against the Republicans, and the other claiming it was rigged against the Democrats. And almost immediately after the election was called for Gropey McOrange, people on the left started claiming that the election was rigged because there appeared to be between 15 and 20 million less votes than in the last election. Explain to me how there can be a record turnout but 20 million less actual votes. While at the same time, people on the right were using the exact same misinformation as proof that the last election was stolen. Sorry to beat a dead horse, but can we go back to what happened here? But children, please, there's no need to argue. You're both stupid. Since even now, not all the votes have been counted, with ballots still needing to be counted in California, Washington, Alaska, Oregon, and Arizona. I did take that video a couple days ago, so some of them might be done counting. California definitely isn't. But either way, adjusted for the remaining votes, that chart that the maggots were spreading around starts to look more like this, with the number of votes being almost identical to what they were in 2020. Not quite so suspicious now, is it? Which means that yet again, roughly 150 million dipshits couldn't be bothered to get off their ass to vote. Something they're definitely going to be kicking themselves for over the next 4 years. But even with their cult leader winning, and the rest of the cult winning both the Senate and Congress, the maggots still haven't stopped whining about an imaginary stolen election, since apparently they're still so dumb that they haven't figured out how absentee ballots and mail-in voting works. With this BS being amplified by the new First Lady, Elon Musk, because apparently we were so focused on stealing Wisconsin that we just kind of forgot to steal the rest of the election. But hey, we got Wisconsin. Idiots. And speaking of Elonia, the next big conspiracy coming out of the left is that Elon Musk somehow used Starlink to interfere with the vote counts in swing states and then destroyed the satellites to hide the evidence. Musk just now blew up Starlink's satellites, took millions offline, destroying evidence. You think there are millions of Starlink satellites? Jesus Christ, these people are crazy. This conspiracy sprang to life as a result of a variety of factors. The first being that a handful of counties did use Starlink internet at their polling stations.
Registrar Michelle Baldwin says access to connectivity was improved this year thanks to Starlink satellite internet. She adds early technical difficulties with the tabulator machine were quickly fixed and did not impact vote count.
And the second was when, shortly after Election Day, videos started going viral of a Starlink satellite burning up as it re-entered Earth's atmosphere over the border of Oklahoma and Texas.
What the fuck is that? Dude, what the fuck is that?
What is that?
What the fuck is that?
Yo!
Wow, what the heck? What is it?
You talking about that? What is that? It's right here, dude.
That I don't know.
How cool is that?
So naturally, morons on Twitter, never willing to let a good conspiracy go to waste, immediately started claiming that it was proof that Elon was destroying evidence that he had rigged the election. Musk used Starlink in all swing states, removing Democratic votes for president and key Senate races. This is how 15 to 20 million voters disappeared. This is why a key Starlink satellite crashed and burned overnight. Starlink did the cheating while used to tabulate votes, then Starlink satellites were destroyed after Tuesday, some strange things happening. But if those same morons had spent 1/100th of the energy that they did spreading baseless conspiracies on doing even 5 minutes of research on the topic they seemingly care so much about, they could have easily avoided making themselves look like complete jackasses. According to the Associated Press last month, voting machines are, generally, not connected to the internet. With a few exceptions, however, there are some jurisdictions in a few states that permit ballot scanners to transmit unofficial results using a mobile private network after voting ends on Election Day, and after memory cards containing the vote tallies have been removed. But then what was with those Starlinks getting all explodey over Texas? After all, Starlinks don't just fall out of the sky for no reason, right? Well, you're right, they don't. There's actually a couple reasons a satellite might one day come crashing through your roof to say hi. And unfortunately for all you conspiracy weirdos, a Starlink satellite making like a Neil Young song and choosing to burn out rather than fade away isn't actually proof of anything. Since 2019, SpaceX has launched more than 6,000 operation satellites into orbit to become part of its Starlink constellation to deliver internet to customers around the world. Because the satellites operate in low Earth orbit below 372 miles in altitude, atmospheric drag should deorbit a satellite naturally within 5 years, sending it burning up in Earth's orbit. However, SpaceX also says it takes measures to deorbit satellites that risk becoming non-maneuverable. SpaceX has to date conducted controlled deorbits of 406 satellites and will perform another 100 more in the coming months. According to the ESA's 2023 Space Environmental Report, approximately 160 large objects, such as satellites, made uncontrolled re-entry in 2021. While these events are not widely publicized, space agencies carefully monitor them to ensure they pose minimal threat to human life and property. And this isn't even the first time that Starlink satellites shitting the bed have made the news this year, with SpaceX blowing up 100 of them back in February. SpaceX announces plans to set 100 Starlink satellites on fire, and then 20 more falling off the back of a rocket, back in July. 20 satellites fall from sky after catastrophic SpaceX rocket failure, triggering investigation. 20 doomed Starlink satellites, which were prematurely released during a botched Falcon 9 rocket launch last week, have burned up in the upper atmosphere after falling back to Earth. And 40 of these stupid things were even knocked out of orbit back in 2022 by a fart from the sun. A solar outburst is increasing atmospheric drag and pulling the satellites back down to Earth. Then there are the people claiming that the high number of Republicans that voted for Trump but didn't vote for the Republican candidate for senator or left the rest of the ballot blank is proof that Trump cheated. It's very suspicious that so many swing states went to Trump but still elected a Democrat as their senator. There's some kind of massive fraud going on here. I just have a hard time believing that so many Republicans voted for Trump but didn't bother to vote for the Republican senator. In fact, they didn't bother to vote for anyone else, just Trump. 40,000 people. I got bad news for you guys, it's a lot more than 40,000. So you're trying to tell me a bunch of illogical weirdos voted weird and illogically? Yes! What the fuck? This one can be debunked just by simply thinking about it logically for a few seconds. Is it really that hard to believe that a large portion of a cult comprised entirely of all the dumbest people in society, most of whom can't even figure out how to use a toothbrush, would only vote for their cult leader and likely not even know who their Senate candidate even was? No, it's really not hard to believe. In fact, it makes perfect sense. Look at these idiots. You think they know who their Senate candidates are? Like, I know you guys are grieving right now, but I'm really gonna need you to get over this denial phase because it's getting kind of embarrassing. And look, I'm not gonna go so far as to say there haven't been some very suspicious things with this election. Like, for instance, that Milwaukee coincidentally had an error counting 30,000 ballots at the exact same time that Trump was winning Wisconsin by 30,000 votes. Or the box of ballots that conveniently fell off the back of a truck in Florida.
A box and a bag containing completed early voting ballots was found on the road by a driver after a worker forgot to lock the back of a truck.
This is some sealed ballots.
The driver found the items in Miami-Dade County, Florida, and initially thought they were garbage. The driver said he took the ballots to a police station. Election staff verified that the seals on the box and bag were, quote, intact and nothing was tampered with or damaged.
Or the multiple instances of people reporting that they can't find their mail-in ballot when they try tracking it online.
I was like, yeah, conspiracy theories, whatever. I'm in Minnesota. The day of the election on Tuesday morning, this is what it said. It said that Tuesday morning, my ballot was accepted on October 10th. Explain this one to me. Where's my ballot? Where are our ballots? Where is my ballot? I voted. It accepted my ballot, and now they can't find it.
And then there are plenty of valid reasons to be suspicious, like the fact that Trump repeatedly said on the campaign trail that he didn't need votes.
I tell my people, I don't need any votes. We got all the votes we need. I don't need votes. All I want to do is make sure that we guard our vote. It's guard. I actually tell our people, we don't need your vote. We got so many votes, we don't need them.
My instruction, we don't need the votes. I have so many votes.
We don't need votes. We don't need votes. We got more votes than anybody's ever had. You don't have to vote. Don't worry about voting. The voting, we got plenty of votes.
Or the fact that Russians called in over 60 bomb threats to polling stations in Democrat-leaning counties in swing states. Appalling 67 bomb threats, most of them targeting heavily Democratic cities, all of which had lower turnout than in 2020. Many of the threats were traced to Russia. Or that experts have been warning since the 2022 midterms that voting software had been breached by Republicans and the information that they took could be exploited in future elections. Voting experts warn of serious threats for 2024 from election equipment software breaches. Election security experts worry the information obtained, including complete copies of hard drives, could be exploited by those who want to interfere with future elections. But the problem is that if you're gonna start saying that the election was rigged and demanding recounts, you need evidence to back up your claims. And even those same experts from before, in their own letter asking Kamala to call for recounts in certain states, admit they don't actually have any evidence. Besides, you guys are putting so much focus on all these illegal ways that they could have maybe possibly stolen the election that you're completely ignoring the legal ways that they did steal the election. Let's not forget all the last-minute voter roll purging that Republicans did in Democrat-leaning counties all across the country. Supreme Court allows Virginia to purge voter rolls ahead of the election. Purging voters, inside Republicans' effort to restrict 2024 U.S. election vote. Right-wing activists are pushing states to use their voter roll purging software. Or that Roger Stone was caught on tape bragging about his efforts to get 1 million Democrats purged off the voter rolls.
We need, for example, to clean our voting lists. The California Republican Assembly, which is an independent organization that I support, you know those great folks, they have done an excellent job of using a program to go through all 15 million Florida voters, and they have found over 1 million undeliverable addresses. Now they're going one by one to the county boards of elections to have those people removed. Now some counties are refusing, and those counties will find themselves in court shortly. But out of 67 counties, I believe, 61 have cooperated. You can guess which ones are the ones that won't cooperate. They're the big counties run by Democrats.
Or that Georgia passed a law that allowed literally anybody to challenge anybody else's voter registration.
Thousands of voter registrations in Denton County being challenged as ineligible.
Finding out that I'm on some sort of hit list of people who shouldn't be voting. I was pretty pissed off.
Daniel Moss's challenge came from someone he doesn't even know.
I want to say it was Nancy.
Nancy lives in the same county and single-handedly sent in thousands of challenges this year.
Nancy sends me something every day.
Just a handful of people can cause a huge amount of problems. Last year in Waterford, Michigan, a county clerk improperly cut more than 1,000 voters from their rolls in response to challenges from one 79-year-old resident who believed the last election was stolen. And challenges have been particularly intense in the swing state of Georgia, where because of a new state law there, anyone can now bring an unlimited number of challenges against anyone in their county, which then have to be heard within 10 business days. Since that bill was passed, more than 180,000 citizen challenges have been filed, with the vast majority by just 6 people, which is ridiculous.
And with Republicans now in control of the White House, Congress, and the Senate, you can bet your ass they'll be doing everything they can to pass more laws to suppress and restrict voting by Democrats, all while installing more Republican state judges that will allow for more last-minute voter purges of Democrats right before the next election. And if you try to fight it in court, it'll just get kicked up to the Supreme Court, where Trump's about to install at least 2 more maggot judges to his already maggot-packed court, basically making it legal for Republicans to kick enough Democrats off the voter rolls in enough states to win the Electoral College so that they can never lose another election regardless of who wins the popular vote. That's why we kept telling you dummies that Trump was a threat to democracy, because as of now, democracy is effectively dead. We're now a single-party nation that every 4 years will have the illusion of elections, the same way Russia has elections, where everybody already knows that Putin is gonna win with 163% of the vote before a single ballot is cast. So when all you dipshits that voted for Trump finally snap out of it after he cuts your Medicare and Social Security and his tariffs kick in and raise the price of everything, and you decide you finally want to quit the cult and vote him out, you won't be able to. So good job, jackasses, you completely fucked yourselves.